Today we're going to talk about the socket attachment, the hardware that comes with the motion arm. We'll talk about both the definitive socket attachment and also our temporary socket attachment setup. When you get the motion arm, it is going to come with your definitive lamination collar here attached to the elbow. Also in the box, you are going to get our plastic temporary humeral lamination collar. This is what we're going to want to use for those diagnostic setups, right? To get our angles right, get our alignment right, things like that. It also just makes it much easier to create that humeral section, that humeral space that we may need with those shorter transhumorals and the higher levels. I'm going to begin by going ahead and removing the clamp band here. So I'm just going to turn that counterclockwise. Okay, once I'm able to remove that screw, I'll go ahead and loosen that clamp band. And everything should just come right off, just like that. So now we have our clamp band here, we have our screw. I'm simply going to pull this lamination collar off of that. You notice in here we've already talked about some of the features of the motion arm. That connection manifold is here, seated into the actual lamination collar. I'm just simply going to lightly push down, and that will remove that from that lamination collar. Next thing I'm going to do is I am going to go ahead and set this up and connect this to my socket. You can use plastic struts. If it's a longer transhumeral, a lot of times I don't have a whole lot of room to begin with, so I can glue or epoxy this right underneath the socket. Again, we want to make sure we get those alignment, the alignment right during this temporary fitting. Some other considerations when connecting this temporary lamination collar. There's a couple raised ridges, the rings down here on the more distal end. We just want to make sure that we're not covering any of those with Scotch casts or tape. Sometimes I put screws directly from metal, aluminum, sometimes plastic struts to connect this also. So we want to make sure that our screw heads are above those rings. That's actually what the clamp band is going to connect everything together with, so we just want to make sure that that's free. So once we have this, again, connected to our socket, that's when we're going to go ahead and connect the elbow now to this temporary collar. Again, the connection manifold will just slide right into here. Okay, that's all snapped in. I'll set this onto my elbow, and then I'm ready to install this clamp band. If you're familiar with the Utah Arms connection, same exact clamp band. Also, you remember the notch, and that notch used to be oriented posterior on the elbow. Now it either needs to be mounted lateral or medial. So our clamp band screw and opening is going to be either on the lateral or medial side of that elbow. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my clamp band. Again, you're looking for that screw to be on that medial or lateral side. And you see how I just went ahead and connected that there. Then I'll simply take my screw and start it back into the clamp band. And then I'll go ahead and tighten that down. And there you see, I've successfully connected my temporary lamination collar onto my new motion arm. So once we get all of our alignment and everything set up temporarily, the next thing we're going to want to do is get this ready for our fabrication, our definitive fabrication, and laminating this all together. So we're simply going to unscrew the clamp band, and you can use your alignment jig, and then you will just replace that plastic temporary humeral collar with your lamination collar. Thank you. And if you have any questions, please contact us at Phil Hour Motion Control.